This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everybody to this day one of SRE and Cloud Performance Engineering in DevOps course. So as we have discussed in last couple of weekends, right, and the demo and the workshop if you have attended. So this is the course we are coming up with along in the with Isha, and this course is on the SRE Site Reliability Engineer and for the Cloud Performance Engineering in DevOps. Okay. The content for both the courses are same. I'm gonna just walk you through the course content again, and I'm gonna let you know what all we're gonna provide as part of this course. And then once we complete that, you can ask your questions, and we'll start with the day one agenda today itself. Okay. So as part of this course, so this course is divided. First of all, why this course? This course is mostly intended for the people who want to transition their career into the SRE world, first of all, and the second for the performance testers, engineers, and who want to upskill so that they can get a better job opportunities. Because what all the content of this course is quite indispensable for today's market. The topics like cloud, the microservices, Docker, uh, containers, Kubernetes, Jenkins, the observability using Prometheus, Grafana, ELK, and different other monitoring tools like cell scripting, Python. So this is the indispensable skill set as per the current market trend, and that's where this course helps you get there. So let me just give you a brief tour. I've already given that in the last weekend in the demo sessions, but we'll start from there. So as part of this course, the first, I'm going to go talk about the sequence, how we will take up this course. First of all, this course, you can, let me help you with this link first of all. If you don't have that handy, please keep it somewhere handy so that you guys can look into this later point. So who can enroll, who wanted to transform themselves into site level engineer into cloud DevOps or performance testing engineering skill sets, aspiring to become SRE professionals, right? Hands-on experience as system administrations and DevOps skills, aspiring to become SRE professionals. So this course is intended for that. This course has coverage of around 45 to 50 hours of live sessions. We're going to talk live. We're going to meet every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 7:30 to 9:30. The class duration will be of 2 hours, max 2 hours. Mostly it's around 1.5 hours to 2 hours. We would like to conclude every session to a logical ending. So we take care of that. Uh, okay, so that's how this class, this all the sessions are designed. The first day, right? Today is the day one. We're gonna start with AWS Journey. uh, See, I don't anything, I don't have any, I don't understand that my audience, I don't expect my audience to know anything. And that's why this course talks about from very scratch. Even if you know something about cloud or microservices, Docker, containers, Kubernetes, I'm going to assume that you don't know, you know nothing, right? That's how I take up all these topics. I'm going to start with very basics. Cloud, what is cloud computing, what is the difference between cloud and on-prem, and then different service models, and then we'll talk about how to get cloud access. We all will have, I'm going to guide you to get an account in the cloud, like similarly the one I have. Everybody is going to have the account in the cloud, and we all do the hands-on here. So I'll guide you how to create an account here, a root user, what is root user, IAM user, how to log in, right? And by the next weekend or today itself, I'll try to give you how to create an account so that you can start doing the hands-on, because that's what expected from a performance SRE engineer. That's what expected. Can you do the solution architecting? Are we aware of these services which can help us architect a solution? Because see, at end of the day, for the performance engineers to troubleshoot any application, we need to know the architecture. And if the architecture is done through all these services, we need to know the services use case, how it is being used, to understand the architecture better so that we can troubleshoot any performance issues in the architecture, right? In the solution architecture. So that's how we need to know this. It's all about knowing many services. Uh, AWS has 200 plus services. In our course, we're going to cover 30 plus services, and which is very much good enough. 30 plus services, 35 services, whatever we're going to go over the sessions, it's good enough for a performance engineer to carry on, because those are the services mostly used. We're going to not talk about game development, we're going to not talk about machine learning, right? IoT, these things are not required. Whatever the most common services that you see in any architecture, that we're going to take talk about in this course, right? And all the things are hands on. I'm going to do things, explain each and everything, how it is being done, how the architecture is, how can you make a secure architecture, highly performing applications, how can you do that, how can we set up such which can help you in your career from the architecture perspective, from the cloud knowledge perspective, right? So that's the idea of this. So you will be as good as, after completion of this AWS part, you would be good to take up even the solution architect exam, right? Just you would require to brush up few other skills. I can guide you and you can clear the solution architect at that level we talk about. It's not just the superficial knowledge. We're going to deep dive, particularly on the services which is mostly required or expected from the performance engineer, like database, right? Like auto scaling, load balancer. Those things are very important. The metrics, these things are very, very important for a performance engineer for the troubleshooting perspective. How to secure the application, what is private subnet, public subnet, VPC, we'll talk about that, right? And IAM on the security perspective. So, and from the very basics, that's what we will do as part of the AWS. This would take approximately 3 weekends, excluding today. We would require three more sessions, 6 sessions to complete this. Okay, and because it's quite exhaustive one, right? And that's what we will try to cover this, right? So this is gonna be for the 3 weekends. There are some sessions which are gonna be the self-paced recording as well, my own recording. Okay, so why we have done that, separated that, because those things are basics and we expect to you to know that, like the Linux command. It is becomes very difficult if you are very new to Linux, if you don't know mkdir, how to create a file, how to search a content in a file, or create a directory, navigate the directory, right? Basic stuff, the file permissions, right? So we have got this self-paced. Okay, in this link itself you would find what all things are self-paced. So these are self-paced. Okay, the Linux part, we will be giving you access on the day one when our cloud journey has started. So those who have enrolled would get this access this week. Okay, maybe today and tomorrow. And we'll get a WhatsApp group, separate WhatsApp group for those people who have enrolled. And I'll be also there in the group. You can ask me any question that you are going, or you're having any issues in your current work. We can discuss about that. Okay, so those are the benefits we would have as part of this course. So we can talk about your own current project, or the challenges you have, or some issues that you have. I can help you uh, get get some insights there. Okay, so this is going to be the self-paced. Okay, and how it's going to be there, you will be given this. So it's a kind of basics one, Linux part. This is the playlist you would get access to. Once you enroll, you'll be asked to give your Gmail address, and you would be added to the YouTube playlist, private playlist, and very simple ones. Okay, just 3.5 hours of good knowledge, basics knowledge which is very much required for you to get up to speed on the Linux part. I have also talked about performance monitoring. Um, how do you write a shell script? Let's say you are running a test and you don't have any commercial tools like AppDynamics, Dynatrace. You don't have any monitoring tool, observability tool. You don't have, but you're supposed to capture the metrics at the Linux. All the applications are deployed in Linux. So how do you capture CPU, memory, disk, and other important informations through a shell script? Let's say you are running a test for 1.5 hours or 1 hour. How would you make sure that you keep plotting all the data uh, in a file, and then you can also plot some graphs? So I have also talked about this in the shell scripting section. So this is what you would get, and you are expected to go over this. So we are filling in for the weekdays, right? Because we are meeting only in the weekends. So we have something for you to go over in the weekdays, okay? Along with what you'll be practicing from the weekends, right? That's how this course is designed. So this is the first part, okay? So the Linux part, self-paced, and you can see the topics from very basics, from very scratch. Anybody can understand how. So it's all the topics are done from scratch. So I'm gonna emphasis on this, okay? Very scratch. Okay, that's gonna be self-paced, and this would take the 3 weekends, okay? After that, I'll come to this part. In the flow, we have got microservices. We will talk about what is monolithic, what is microservices, service-oriented architecture, how it is different, what is the benefit. First, we need to have the understanding of the microservices, monolithic applications. Does this Linux part also covers nmon analysis? Abhishek, not yet. No, Abhishek. Kind of top and VM stat, SAR command, those things are there. Okay, not nmon analysis. Once you know these standard commands, Abhishek, then every commands remains the same, right? Doesn't matter. A top command has so many things. VM stat command has so many things. Right? IO stat commands have so many things, right? So not nmon analysis. Yeah. Okay. Uh, kind of to get you up to speed on the very basics. Okay. This is what intended, and an introduction to the shell scripting. Okay. And then you are expected to scale up more, and you can ask me any questions on that part. And if you need something additional, we can talk about it in our regular live sessions as well. If your topic, or if everybody agrees, if in the WhatsApp group, if you mention that we need to know this with some justification, and everybody agrees, perfectly fine. We'll take up that as the live sessions. So we have that flexibility as well. Let's say you want something on the Linux performance monitoring more. You want to talk about VM stat command, IO stat command, top command. You need to know more, right? We can have a separate session discussed on those things as well. Okay, whatever you felt like. But this will help you up to speed from the very basics, basically, because I have talked about CP, MKDIR. I have talked about from that level, and I'm bringing to a level where you can think and have some more questions. Okay, that's the intention. And then once you have some questions, we're going to take up that question in the live sessions. That's the thought process. So, Saravanan, I'm coming to that Python part. Okay, so first cloud, self-paced Linux, followed by the monolithic microservices. We need to understand what is monolithic, what is microservices, how, which is better, right? In what conditions, which is better. So we'll talk about that. Followed by the containers. How do we create containers? Because nowadays, when you join any company, mostly the company, they have containerized the applications. They would be using some container engine like Docker, and the applications are containerized, and you are supposed to test it. If you don't understand how the containerization works, how it is being deployed, you cannot size it. You cannot recommend your sizing, how it needs to be sized, right? So we need to understand that part. How do we create containers, and a lot of other commands. How, let's say if there are containers running, how do you know the CPU memory of all the containers? How do you make sure, if you want certain, let's say, two cores for a particular container from 8 cores in a node, how would you dedicatedly specify that or allocate that? We'll talk about this in this topic, container engine topic, right? So that's the thing. So we'll talk about. So this is going to take approximately 2 days. I request everybody to be on mute. If you have any question, you can ask. Okay. Okay. So that's the next part. Now, then followed by the orchestration engine. See, it's good that we have the containers, but in production, we need to have a lot of other features like auto scaling. We don't want in production somebody to monitor manually and take action manually. No, we want auto scaling of containers, auto scaling of VMs. So auto scaling happens at the both level, at the virtual machine level, at the container level, right? So in the container orchestration engine, which is Kubernetes, which we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that from the very basics. What is Kubernetes? Different Kubernetes objects, different services that we have to expose the containers, and then we talk about auto scaling of containers, auto healing, how it is benefit, and a lot of other things, the ingress. Okay, so we have got so many things which is very much relevant, considering the from the what is required from a performance or SRE perspective, right? That's what we're going to talk about it in this. So that's the flow: cloud, microservices, Docker, Kubernetes, and this would take approximately uh, 2 weekends. Okay, uh, one weekend here, 2 weekends here, so approximately 6 weekends went, right? And you would be uh, have the recorded session of the Linux that you'll complete. Once you complete, let's say 3 weekends, we're gonna share the Java performance engineering, the recorded session. Okay, because I understand the importance. This is going to be the recorded session, Java performance engineering, because I'll be focused on what is expected in today's market, right? And these things we have created for you to get up to speed. If you have not done that, I'll talk about the JVM architecture, the heap dump, all the GC algorithm, GC log analysis, heap dump analysis, thread dump analysis. We'll talk about this in this recorded session. So Java performance engineering. After Linux, once you complete the Linux part, after 3 weekends, we're gonna give you this for the weekdays, okay? And then weekends we'll talk about containers, Kubernetes. We'll keep on in the parallel. Those things will go on, and you're expected to go over this in the weekdays. And you can ask any question if you have, okay, in the WhatsApp group or in the session. If you need some additional detail, we'll again talk about it, right? That's how it is being planned. So complete this course is complete 2.5 uh, months of training. Okay, that's how this is designed, to keep you fully occupied, to bring you to a zero level, to a level where you can definitely get a job, either performance engineer or an SRE engineer. Even if you are a 10 plus years experience, 12 years experience, this course is going to help you. Even you are 6 years experience and you don't know performance engineering concepts, this course is going to help you for everybody. That this is how this course is designed, right? And you can also transition yourself to the SRE engineers, SRE part. We'll talk about that. We have topics, live sessions for the SRE engineering, right? We'll talk about it. So that's Kubernetes part. After that, we will deep dive into DevOps in the live sessions. Whatever we're talking about here is the live sessions. DevOps. What is performance engineering in DevOps? How it fits? What is Jenkins? How do you create CI/CD pipeline? Because nobody, even if you're not a DevOps engineer, you're a performance engineer, you need to know CI/CD pipeline, and it's must for the SRE engineers, because SRE engineer work starts from the deployment. When code is deployed to the production, that's where the SRE responsibility works, right? SRE mostly talks about the reliability. If as I have discussed in the demo session, production reliability, everything to do with the production reliability, how to make sure the production is stable, right? And if the work start from the deployment, and to understand deployment, we need to talk about CI/CD pipeline. So it's equally important for a performance engineer, automation engineer, SRE engineer DevOps engineer, we need to understand the CI/CD pipeline, because CI/CD pipeline is at the organization level, right? We all need to understand that. So we'll talk about that here. How do we create CI/CD pipeline? What is shift left approach, shift right approach, right? What is continuous integration? See, we'll talk about Jenkins here, integrating Jenkins and run some Jmeter test, like creating a job. How can you schedule a job in Jmeter job in Jenkins? We'll talk about that. Some email notifications as well, automatic triggering of emails when a job completes. And we also will talk about the AWS services. In AWS services also, we have a lot of services which is for the DevOps, like code commit. We have a lot of services in AWS, code commit, we have code pipeline, code build. We have got so many services in AWS which is gonna for the DevOps, right? So we will talk about that, and we'll, because a lot of company, they would not be using Jenkins. They may be using the AWS, uh, because these services provides additional features. If you have all your workloads, applications, architecture deployed in AWS services, most likely the company would use these services, cloud services. So we need to know about these services to understand the DevOps. So we'll talk about that as well in this course, right? So introduction to AWS services for CI/CD pipeline, and everything is hands-on. Whatever I'm talking about, it's not the theoretical aspects. I'm going to install Jenkins. I'm going to create pipeline. I'm going to show you things, how it is being done. All things are hands-on, and I'm going to execute the commands, so how it is being done, right? That's how this course is designed, right? So this is going to take again 1 weekend. We'll try to complete that in the 1 weekend, right? Mostly, maybe 3 sessions can go over it, right? And then the reliability part using AWS services, uh, S3, RDS, DynamoDB databases, Lambda, load balancing, auto scaling, EKS. In Kubernetes, guys, we will talk about EKS. It's not about just the Kubernetes knowledge, what is Kubernetes, but I'm gonna create a cluster for the EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, and all our demonstrations is going to be through EKS. It's a managed service of AWS. If you go to the console of AWS, if you type EKS here, this is what service we will use, the EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. So Kubernetes is very popular orchestration engine. Every cloud service provider, they have you leverage the open source technology, and they have created a service. Every not just AWS, Azure has AKS, GCP Google Cloud Platform has GKE, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure OCI, they have OKE. So every cloud service provider, they have this managed service. And we'll talk about EKS. We cannot demonstrate everything. We'll talk about EKS in this course, right? We'll talk about observability, the monitoring. Now we don't talk monitoring. We talk about observability. Observability means the trace, the log, the metrics. So metrics, logs, trace analysis is what we call it observability. We'll use Prometheus and Grafana and ELK to demonstrate how to set it up, how to see the dashboards, how do we create alerts. We will talk about that, because alerting is very important for a SRE engineer, right? And I have so that's the flow, and then we will talk about the SRE concepts. Very very important, new technology, and if you are looking forward to uh, upskill or change your career to SRE, we will this all these jargons will gonna help you to understand what is fault tolerance, what do you mean by reliability, what is disaster recovery, how do we set up disaster recovery. If my entire cluster is down, how can I make sure I don't have a downtime, right? What is SLIs, SLOs, right? We'll talk about that. Change management, incident management, to help you understand first the roles and responsibility of an SRE engineer. So we will talk about that here. We have, as I told you, we have got the performance engineering sessions already. I just showed you the Java performance engineering. This is what the playlist is. Everybody would get the access, and you can see it's kind of 9 to 10 hours, or approximately 10 to 11 hours of sessions here. Uh, we have here in this. So that's part is there. Then we have got the automation. One of the important role being an SRE engineer is to automate stuff, right? We're going to use Terraform for the infrastructure automation. We're going to use Ansible for the configuration management. So we will talk about that Terraform, Ansible, right? I'm going to have a session on this part to give you exposure on the Python scripting and the cell scripting. What all different things you can automate in a company from a production perspective. From a production, because when you work, because let's say data cleanup, right? Or setting up a monitoring kind of a script which can help you monitor things when you don't have any commercial tools, right? So we have a session dedicated on that here. We'll talk about that. Along with all of this, shell scripting I have already discussed. You're gonna get the core Java recorded sessions. The recorded session you're gonna have it, the core Java part. Because if you are a Java performance engineer, you should know what is thread, what is single thread, multi-thread concepts, some basics of Java. So we have given you a recorded session, Java recorded session. This is gonna be the playlist of all those Java that you want to understand. It's this session is not from me. I have not taken it up. uh, Somebody else, okay, Mike has taken this Java coding programming sessions. You're gonna have these things access, and then Python as well. Python, again, this Python is not by me, because they are programming. I'll talk about the scripting and what are different ways we can use Python and shell scripting to automate stuff. I'll talk about that. But the programming part is being Java and Python is by somebody else, not by me. Okay, so be clear. Abhishek will take the Python and Mike would take the Java. Okay, so that's how this entire course is designed. Okay, uh, and 2.5 hours of 2.5 months of live sessions, approximately 10 weekends we're gonna meet. It's exhaustive course, okay? Because if you look at the syllabus, it's quite exhaustive. Yes, Karun Karnakar. Yes. Oh, this is the syllabus. I've shared the link. Anyway, I think you missed it. But this is the link. Please go over this link. I've shared in the chat. This is the link of this course. This is going to be 2.5 months, 10 weekends of exhaustive sessions, as you can see here. And for every session, like the we are recording the session, right? These are all the recordings. Let's say I'm sharing this for the month of May, the last batch that has completed. We have completed, and as you can see, approximately we have got 25, 24 sessions, live sessions. Some because the learners wanted to learn something more. So yeah, we have extended that, right? Some other additional sessions, and we have gone till 24 day. Right, as you can see, we have got 2 hours, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 51 minutes. As you can see, the number of hours, sometime less, 1 hour, 13 minutes also. It depends. So mostly the time duration will be from 7:30 to 9:30. That's you need to make sure that uh, if you are available, right, every weekend, 2 hours, right? That's how this is designed. Okay. So this is the regular sessions, recorded sessions. You will be getting access. The Linux part is here. The Java performance engineering is here. The Java programming and Python programming. All these playlists will be shared with you as part of this course and lifetime access. Along with this, guys, you're gonna get The all the PPTs. I'm sharing you the last month PPTs. Uh, a lot of materials for you to go over it. Uh, I have designed this all these PPTs. Let's say we'll start with the cloud, right? So I'm going to open the first PPT, and just for the reference, so that you guys can also revise it later. So we have this cloud part, and as you can see, we will talk about these topics, and we have a sequence to follow, and we will follow all these things. And as you can see in the cloud itself, we have got how many slides? Approximately 160, 160, 165, 60 slides we have, right? Similarly, we have sessions for the Linux, PPT for the Linux, PPT for the again in the Linux PPT. I have put together a lot of commands for your reference. When you start the recording, I have referred these PPT itself in the recording, and this will help you to understand all those commands with explanations. Simple way. The way I have put that in the recording, same way this PPT would be helpful. So this PPT will be very useful, like a notes for you to something to refer. And then we'll talk about microservices, Docker, container engine. So we'll start with microservices and we'll talk about container engine, the Docker, and I'm going to share a lot of commands with you. When we talk about Docker, again, Docker has got a lot of commands. So I have put together a lot of commands together so that it's handy with you. All the links I share, okay, very important links. Uh, how to allocate memory and CPU to a container. How do we check logs? Because if you don't see the logs, how would you know what's the issue, right? So very important from a performance, from an SRE perspective, from a somebody who's working into the production reliability. I myself, as a performance, working as a principal SRE. Before that, I have spent a quite considerable amount of time, significant amount of time as a performance engineer. So I know the journey, how it's gonna be, right? And that's where this course fits in to help you upskill yourself to move to your next level, right? We talk about the Kubernetes here, right? Again, the flow, as I'm just talked about the flow, the container orchestration engine. Uh, Again, from the very basics to the very to a level where you understand and you start answering question in the interview. I hope some of you would have experienced this, right? How many questions they're asking in the interview nowadays in Docker, Kubernetes, they're asking about microservices. I hope many of you have realized that, or you are already in a company where you're expected to know all of this. Yes? No, guys? I hope the answer is yes. Would you guys confirm that?
Yes, yes.
Right. So that's where this course fits in, because I know what is expected. I take up a lot of interviews. I know what is lacking, where we need to fill the bridge, and that's where this course. Server has asked a question: prerequisite for the training. No AWS. We for nothing. Okay, for all these topics, I just prerequisite is only you to be sincere and you just know the basics of performance. Okay, that's where the expectation is as the prerequisite. As I told you, for the cloud and all, I don't expect you to know anything. Everything's from scratch: cloud, containers, Kubernetes, Jenkins, because I know all these topics are quite new for any performance engineer. Because mostly the performance test, how we operate, we mostly work on tools, right? And some monitoring piece, we know some analysis we do. That's what we most of the performance engineers spend. Understand the non-functional requirements. That's what we do. We don't microservices. There is nobody to tell us what is the architecture looks like, what is the importance of architecture, how to make a scalable application. And that's the real question a performance engineers would be asked, right? What is your recommendation to make sure this application scales? We need to understand those things from a architecture perspective, and that's where we're going to talk about that. Nginx or Apache? Yes, we have a demo Sarvanan on Apache 2. Whenever we install a EC2 instance, when we provision, I do install Apache, okay, to show you how it works. Yeah. Nginx, yes, we do. We use do in Nginx for our containers. When I demonstrate container pods, we do use Nginx image to create containers. Okay, to answer your question. Yes, so that's the flow, and these are all the documents that you will get. A lot of materials here, Docker file, Docker compose, and on the SRE part again, a lot of um, PPTs again, AWS database performance, SRE, what the different terminal as I was talking about, SRE PPTs, what is required to know these words are very important. What do you mean by disaster recovery, reliability, fault tolerance, HA? How do we construct the best suitable architecture? We need to understand those things. So we will performance engineering, right? Java performance engineering, very important. So we have a slide for that and a lot of documents I have put together here for you to uh, get up to speed or enhance your knowledge on the Java troubleshooting. Okay, so that's how this course is designed. Yes, Kiran, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Hi, Roshan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, see, a simple doubt what I had was, uh, okay, I or maybe most of us would be starting from zero. So after
Mhm.
this course of 2.5 to 3 months, we will have pretty basic, strong understanding of AWS and Java and things like that. But in
Yeah.
the last 6 months, I've given a couple of interviews, and what I've realized is everything which is covered in this topic is exactly what they're asking in the interviews.
Correct.
But yes, we will get knowledge, we will get hands on, but not like all the projects which we are working on currently in our current companies. They are working on all these technologies, right? So in the interview, they ask for real life examples or what we really have worked on, not like what we have done in training. So how do you
Okay.
guide us in
So
that?
basically, you basically if they ask you, okay. So I understand your question because this is a very typical question even I ask. I because see, I need to know as an interviewer what is running in my mind. I want to know what this guy has worked on and how it takes whether he understands the architecture of his the application he's working on or not. Because I need to know for me this is very much to know whether this guy understands the importance of architecture or not and how not just the understanding but does it really understand how different components are playing a role in the scalability, right? That's very typical question interviewer will ask you, right? So if your question is you don't have a background of such applications in AWS, let's say you are not working on AWS, and as an interviewer I'm expecting you to know the AWS services and tell me about some architecture diagram. So we can talk about some e-commerce application. I can give you a brief tour how an e-commerce application would look like and what are different services you can mention in the interview, so to convince the interviewer that you have really worked on such architecture. Okay, I think that will help, right, Kiran?
Yes, Roshan. Yeah, and the more experience we gain in this training, that will also add up to build our own stories.
Correct. So that's how this course and that's how I can also help you because I have worked
Okay.
on many retail applications. I know the basic architecture component that any retail application would have. See, at end of the day, if you understand, if you look at architecture, you will realize it's mostly more of the same. You need to understand how a generic architecture works looks like.
Yeah.
When you hit amazon.com, what happens? It's a DNS name, right? First
Mm-hmm.
of all, it will go to the domain DNS server. It will resolve the domain name, and then it will hit the load balancer, right? It may, if their Kubernetes architecture, it will hit the ingress, and then from there it will hit the pods or some servers, and depending on how many microservices you have. So you need to understand the flow, right? Once you
Yeah.
understand the flow, you can build your story. So that's where this course will help you because that's how I take up things for you to understand. If I explain you a service, let's say Route 53. Route 53 is a service in AWS where we go and purchase the domain. It's a
Hmm.
domain registrar, and also we can route the traffic. Amazon.com, it's a domain name, but this is not the load balancer. Actually, you are supposed to hit the load balancer. So you need to mention the load balancer IP or the URL in this. You need to configure it, right? And that's
Hmm.
how it gets resolved. And from that, it will hit the web server, or a web server will talk to application server will talk to database server, or there could be some in-memory database also playing a role if the response time is too sensitive, right? So we need to understand the flow. Once we understand the flow, we can make our own story,
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Roshan.
right? That's how we take up topics. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's about the course introduction, guys. I have given you the link. I have showed you all the playlists that you would get access. I have showed you all the documents that you would get access to, and additional things, a separate WhatsApp group, and you can ask me questions. I would not promise to respond right at the moment you ask a question. Depending on my availability, I'll attend your questions. But make sure that be rest assured that I'll take up your questions. Okay, and I'll answer that. So that's about the course, guys. So with that, any question? Because we're gonna start our day one. Sarvanan,
Um,
we have already started the course. Today is the day one. Yes, please go ahead, Ramya.
are there any topics covering like tuning of application server? How do we tune database server, web server?
Correct. So as this course, right, as I was talking about Java performance engineering, this playlist, if you know, uh, if your web server, application server, or the server, mostly if you was a Java based. So this is what this entire course is about. How do we tune that? What is important in the Java? GC algorithm, GC, how garbage collection is happening, right? Uh, how do we tune that? So we will talk about that. Database part, we have multiple types of tuning. We can do sizing tuning, that we have taken up in the course. But SQL tuning, if you ask me, SQL query tuning, that we don't have as part of this course. Okay, SQL tuning. But from the infrastructure perspective, how to make high available database, how do we add read replicas to your database, we have covered that from a sizing perspective, not the SQL tuning. Except the SQL tuning, we have taken care of the database performance as well.
Okay, actually, this is the most asked questions in the interview. That's why.
See, that's again, this has nothing to do with the cloud, Docker, Kubernetes, and Jenkins. And this is what this course is offering. See, if you want to understand the soul of this course is on the cloud, to help you understand the cloud, to help you understand the Docker, Kubernetes, CICD pipeline, how things work in a containerized environment. This is the soul of the course. Performance engineering, I have helped you with the recorded session here, right? Because that what the question which you're asking, it's not dependent on the cloud part, or not dependent on the Kubernetes part or container part. It solely depend on the database knowledge, whether you understand a database or not, a particular database. So we are not talking about one database here, like Oracle or MySQL. No, we don't have such a topic here, and I don't want to have that expectation. So don't expect that I'm talking about a database and I will talk about some AWR reporting and I will explain how to use SQL tuning. No, we are not doing that. But on the Java performance engineering, yes, we have the recorded session, and this is what you see in the screen,
Okay, Roshan. So
right?
CICD pipeline means, do we see any demo for that? How do we?
Yes, everything is demo. Yes, everything is demo. Yes. We will install Jenkins and I will show you CI/CD pipeline.
Okay, okay, sure. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Any other question? See, Ramya, if you ask me how do you tune a database, I can just send you a couple of links. YouTube. I'll not share a very. I can send you a couple of links. Just go over it. Enough for you to understand database performance. Okay.
Okay, okay, Roshan. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
If you can share that with us also, Roshan, it will help.
Yeah, we will share in the WhatsApp group. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Let the group create it. We will share. Yeah. Okay. I think we are all sorted now. Um, Let me start with the day one agenda. We have got 10 minutes. Yes, Karunakar, I told you, right? Monitoring tool, we call it observability nowadays. We don't call it just monitoring tools. Observability. The metrics, logs, trace, analysis is what observability. We will talk about Prometheus and Grafana. We will talk about CloudWatch, Linux monitoring as part of the shell scripting, CloudWatch, which is the AWS monitoring solution, Prometheus and Grafana, and ELK. These are the four things we're going to cover as part of this course. How do we set up? How do we monitor? What we monitor? How do we set up alerts? All those things here. Okay. So, guys, we're going to get started with our day one agenda. Day one agenda is cloud part. Okay. And this is the slide for that. I'm going to close other things I don't require now. Okay. So, guys, today, first topic is cloud. And I would like to ask a simple question to all of you. Um, can anybody help me understand the difference between on-prem and the cloud? Before understanding the cloud, we need to know what is on-prem. So, can anybody help me?
Yes, yes, I will tell you,
Please
sir.
go. Go ahead.
Cloud is nothing but on-prem is nothing but based on we have to maintain our own infrastructure, everything
Mhm. Okay.
on-prem.
We have to maintain our own infrastructure. Okay. Sounds good.
Yes,
Yeah. And how
and
about
cloud is
cloud?
nothing but cloud is nothing. For example, you take an AWS. So
Yeah.
AWS, we will have they will maintain all the infrastructure,
Right.
right?
Right. Absolutely. You're right. Okay. See, so I'm gonna just explain this for everybody benefit. See, this is how a data center looks like. Typical data center. Either you are setting it up or somebody else. That's a separate question. We'll come to that part. But this is how a data center would look like. Imagine a multi-story building. Imagine a multi-story building in the outskirt of the city, somewhere in the outskirt. Because you need to, and it's a multiple acres, right? You need to procure the land. So look at the cost part of it. Somebody has to procure the land. The person who is setting up this data center, procuring the land, purchase the land, uh, build this infrastructure, multi-story building, right? Uh, Maybe the roads may not be there. They need to also make the road depending on how outskirt they are, because it requires land. Uh, you need to purchase all these servers. That's what the data center has: the servers, the storage. Purchase it. So who is setting it up? They have to purchase all of those things. They have to purchase all the these are the hardware I'm showing you, but these servers would require OS installations. You need to talk about these servers which generate a lot of heat. So cooling mechanism has to be taken care in this facility. Cooling mechanism. We know our laptop, right? One laptop generates so much of heat. Think about hundreds and thousands of such things. How much heat they will generate. So cooling mechanism has to be taken care. Uh, these servers cannot run out of power. So redundant power supplies, some grid. Maybe it could be if they're talking about solar and natural resources, so solar panel installations and so the power and all. So a lot of things. I cannot lose internet connectivity, multiple network switches, multiple of everything because I cannot run out of power. Lot many applications are deployed here. This is how a data center would look like. So think about the cost. Is it costly, guys? Can everybody do that? Of course, no. It requires billions of investment, billion of dollars of investments. It's not a something everybody can afford and do it. That's how a data center would look like. If you are setting it up, that then you can call it on-prem. It's my data center. It's my on-premise. It's on your it. Then you can call it on-prem. You have to take care of everything, right from the facility, security of the facility. You need to have some security personnels employed working in this facility. uh, some servers will run out of, it will not work, some will be non-functional, you need to replace it, you need some guys for the maintenance. So a lot of cost, right? Not everybody can afford to have a data center, but when you set this up, that's on-prem. When somebody else has set this up, like AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google GCP, Oracle OCI, if they have set it up, such kind of thing, and you just ask some servers, can I use some servers? Let's say you call AWS and can I use some servers? They will say no. But what is the provision? So you will tell them that yeah, I can pay you some amount, whatever you mention as a monthly bill. Can I use it like a rent? How we live in a rented apartment, same way. So yes, they would agree. So you can use some servers, deploy your application, you can be up and running. That's the cloud. That's the only difference. Who owns it? That's the only difference. Who owns it? On-prem, you own it, or the company where you work owns it. Cloud means somebody else owns it, and you are deploying, you are leveraging the servers, the storage, leveraging it and deploying your application. That's the cloud part. So as long as you pay the rent monthly bill, you can use, you can, the services will be operational. The moment you stop paying the bill, it's same as like the way we live on our rented house. The moment we stop paying, same thing, will not be allowed to live in the house, right? Same thing. The if you don't pay the bill, and they would make it, so it's like a rent basis, right? So that's the simple definition between the on-prem and the cloud. So for every service, why we use cloud then? Why we use cloud? Because I need to get the servers. Very important thing, because that's where I will deploy my application, my app server, web server, database server. I need the servers. I need storage. I need to store a lot of data. I need storage. That's why we use clouds, mostly server storage. Very important use case of using the cloud. So let's say I need the servers or from AWS. What is the process? So they have told us that there is a process in place. All we need to do is to go to aws.amazon.com. AWS is the subdomain, amazon.com, and aws.amazon.com. Go to this website, sign up, create an account, free account, sign up. Like if you just open that in incognito window, you would be option, just go to aws.amazon.com and you just sign up and create an account. So create an AWS account, click on this guy, and just use your email address, same Gmail and all, and just continue with the process. You will be asked to put your credit card details. They will not detect money. Some if you have the Indian credit card, some INR 2 rupees, and if you have some international card, maybe $1, they would just deduct to verify the authenticity of the user, genuine user or not. And you will be getting, you once you can create an account, you can log in like the way I logged in last time, remember? And you can start creating servers, storage, right? That's how you will log in. And you, if you need servers, there are some services for that. For everything that you require, if you need some servers, there is a service. If you need some storage, there is a service. If you need a database, there is a service. And that's what we will learn. How to get servers, how to log into the server, how do we install things. Same thing for the storage. How do we get storage? How do we get database? That's what cloud means. And that's what we will learn here. And we will learn AWS, right? Guys, are we doing good with the basics? I hope everybody understands the cloud now.
Yes.
Good. Thumbs up, guys. If you have if you all understood, can I get a thumbs up from all of you? There's a good, right? Uh, then how about bills? You can ask, Roshan, how about bills? Where do we need to go and pay the bills? For bills also, there is a service, billing. They're smart guys. You don't have to go call them. Oh, if you want to pay the bill, go to billing section, pay the bill. For example, I would not have paid the last month bill. You would see some, yeah, some bills I have there. We go to the bills, some bills are there for me. I need to pay. So if the moment I stop, if I don't pay for a bill, this bill for a month or two, I will not be able to even log in. That's how it works. I need to pay this bill. I have got a bill for the August. I think I have not paid it. That's fine. August only, right? Yeah, I can go till September. I can this they will not suspend it till September and all because it's August bill only. So the bill has not generated also. I will check if the bill has generated already. Yeah, bill has generated already. I need to pay this bill. Okay, fine. I'll pay this. If I don't pay this, maybe next month or next month I will not be able to even log in. So that's how we pay the bill, and we will use the services to deploy things. And because I do a lot of other stuff, guys, so don't worry, you will not be billed. Select a free tier for 1 year because this account is long. I'm no longer in the free tier, and I use also services which is not part of free tier. So that's why I get some bills. But don't worry, you will not get bill if you are under the free tier. Okay. So create an account, guys, everybody, and select the free tier. As part of free tier, you get a lot of uh, uh, you can create servers, some a specific type, which I will talk about the next session. So you get a server, you can create a server for 750 hours or 1 year. So 750 hours. If you look at this EC2 instance, you can use 750 hours as part of free tier. 5 GB of S3 storage, database 750 hours. DynamoDB, again, this is a database. SageMaker is for the machine learning. Lambda is for the function as a code. So there are some free services you can use it, which will not be charged as part of, as long as you are in the free tier. These are always free, by the way. They are 12 months free, 12 months free. So I will talk more about it as part of the free tier. But create an account, don't hesitate, and start using the services from the next weekend. Okay, I'll guide you. Okay? So you will not get billed, don't worry. Okay, by looking at my bill, because I do a lot of other stuff also. Keep on exploring some services. That's why I get some bill. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, and that's how we will learn slowly um, in the next weekend, guys. Abhishek has a question. Can we check in advance how much setting up a server with specified capacity cost will come? Yes, so we have a calculator. Every cloud has a calculator, Abhishek. Go to a AWS calculator. Yahoo, I don't like. Go to Google and type AWS calculator. Go there and just mention what all servers you require. which region, create an estimate, you would get the estimate. Okay, different services, different region, and you'll get the estimate at the end. Okay, Abhishek, use calculator. Okay, guys, so that's all. Okay, from my side today. Today was the 1 hour session as planned. Okay, that's why we are not extending for today's session. It was 1 hour defined, so we'll stick to the plan. From next weekend is going to be the closed group. If you are interested, please get enrolled. And from the next weekend, we'll be on the full swing, guys. Okay, and be ready mentally to spend time, commit some of your time, devote your time on this learning. I can take care of remaining stuff. Okay, so commitment should be from your end. That's all, guys, from my side. Okay, if you have any question, feel free to ask. We are done for the day.
Thank you, Roshan.
Sure. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Roshan
you.
sir. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. The course is overall 2 months, right, sir?
Correct. Approximately 2.5 months. Yeah. So as we are
Okay.
starting,
And
let's say we are starting September, you can expect this course to go
uh
till first week of November or second week of November. Yeah.
okay. That's first week of November, second week of November. And it'll be the same this timings, right, sir?
Exactly the same time. Yeah. But extended. Today we have met for the
Perfect,
only
sir.
1 hour,
Oh,
but we're gonna meet for the 2 hours. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Which time zone you
Amazing, sir. Thank you. Amazing, sir. Thank you so much.
are?
I'm
Sure.
actually EST. And then
Okay, so
so I'm
Central
working, but
and
normally, yeah, normally mornings we don't have that many meetings, so I should be able to, I should be
perfect,
able to sign on, sir.
perfect, perfect. Sounds good. Sounds good. And
And I
anyway,
really
you'll be
appreciate
getting the
it a
recording
lot. Thank
also.
you so much. Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
No
Yeah.
problem. And you'll be getting the recording as
So
well.
I
So
can,
let's say
yeah,
if you
catch the recordings as well.
miss any session, you can go the recording. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, Tejas. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Thank you.